What's going on, Garage Gang? Matt from GarageMC here. Guys, in today's video, what we're going to do is, I got a bunch of stuff in the middle of getting redone for the 350X. You could probably see a lot of it that I powder coated hanging from the, the rafters behind me. That's all the little stuff that I could powder coat here. But in today's video, what we need to do is, I got the LT250R in the garage. Let's get rid of this, the homemade airbox here. Look like it's like something like from that Joe Dirt movie, the dude with the home and where you make it. That's what that thing looks like right there. So what we're going to swap it out to is the CFM Performance aluminum airbox. It'll look a hell of a lot better than what's on there now. All right, let's get into it. Stay tuned. Alright, so as you guys can see, I got my plastics, gas tank, and seat off. Kind of going to do a thorough cleaning of this bike before I take it back out on the trail. I'm also going to re-gasket the top end, and I got to do something with that exhaust mount because it's way too close to that cool head. And I think it already rubbed a hole in my brand new expansion tank, FMF fatty there. So, going to go ahead and take that off and do a nice little... Probably push that in with the round part of a ball peen hammer just to clearance it a little bit. I don't want to space out the expansion tank any further because this piece already came through the plastics on the, by the rear fender there. Doesn't look too bad. It actually did it really clean on its own. I'm going to clean it up a little bit. That's not what this video is about though. So we'll go ahead and start with taking this contraption here out. Looks like it's a couple bolts here. We got the two side, we got one side and these two here. That's going to come out. Run the CFM Performance airbox. This one here. Obviously that other uni filter that's in the bike will not fit. This is slightly not as, front to back lengthwise long as the one that's on the bike now. So you need to go to this style filter here. Says it's for ATC 250R, so that would definitely make sense because on an ATC 250R 1985-86 they mount to the side and then the tube goes out the left side of the bike and then up to the carburetor on an ATC 250R. So this will be the one that we need here. The part number on this one is NU-4080ST, or you can just search air filter for 85-86 ATC 250R. If you're going to go ahead and get this CFM Performance airbox does not come with an air filter, so you will need to buy that separately. We start getting this thing out of the way, and then we'll bolt that one in. This is going to be a quick video, guys. It's not a big deal. I'm also going to clean the intake boot out thoroughly while I have it off the bike. It's always a good time when you start taking stuff apart. Go ahead and clean stuff, that you can't normally get to without doing stuff like this. So. Let me unbolt this, and, I do it with you on camera. It's literally 3 bolts and the hose clamp that holds the boot to the airbox, so, whatever. And I'm also kind of out of space in here, guys. Got my wheels ready to go for powder. I might put my oven together and do those here, so, who knows. Our gusset kit for the 350X is done. I got to do a slight mock-up first, because whoever owned this before me, with that E-Series exhaust right there, somebody cut the rear reservoir bracket off the frame because that's where the pipe goes through. Like normally this would sit about here like this, but the pipe was in the way, so I'm looking at other exhausts right now. Not going to go stock exhaust. I'm probably going to do something aftermarket. There's a company that makes a really nice stainless steel exhaust. I might go that route. Anyway, all right. Enough about that. You guys will be seeing that very soon. This is ready to go to powder. I got to do a little finish grinding and a little mock-up first. Make sure we have everything we need before it gets powder coated, because then it's too late if we got to add or subtract something. Right, I got those 3 bolts out. The reason I didn't film taking it out with you guys, it's only 3 bolts, literally. And this is 91-92 style. So 85-86 first gen, 87-90 is a second gen. 91-92 is the third and last generation of the LT250R, if you don't know that. Anyway, so 87-90 has a rear linkage system in it. It pivots up off the frame. It's totally different. So I don't know if this also fits the other years. I ordered it for a 3rd gen 91, 92, but with those couple of bolts out, we could wiggle this puppy on out of here somehow. Sorry, probably help if I left the camera where you could see it, huh? Oh, got my little overflow tube in the way. All right, I just got a bunch of 2-stroke oil on my pants. That's cool. Come on. There we go. All right, got that puppy wiggled on out of there. See how this puppy lines up in here, man. CFM Performance makes some really cool stuff, guys. You know, if you're not in the know on that, they make some really decent stuff. All right, so this is gonna go, this rear plate here with the 2 screws in it is gonna go from the bottom. So I'm gonna have to wiggle this back up the same way the other one came out. Something like so. Get this puppy up there. I gotta take, yeah, help if I aim the camera at it, Matt. All right, so it's gonna go something like that. You know, obviously to the boot. So let me go ahead and get these bolts out. I'll set you guys up on the tripod and let's anchor this puppy down, man. All right, I took those bolts out, put them in the frame here out of this back plate. These also, I took these out with the upper plate since we're gonna need to put the filter in. We'll get this bolted up and then we'll oil our filter and we'll get that set up in here and we'll call that a wrap, fellas. Let's do it. So, coming up from the bottom, let me get my radiator overflow out of the way. All right. Oh, you got some nice dirty stuff on it already. That's sweet. All right. And we'll get our boot on after we get this somewhat in place. I'm gonna leave all these loose. All these Allen heads are 4mm. So 4mm on the size for the Allen heads. This is a little tight, huh? Come on. Get in there. Alright. And I'm just gonna start these bolts. And these are nylocks, so no need for thread locker. Go ahead and get this sliding in here. Boots are always a pain in the ass, man. Always a pain in the butt. Probably be easier to do this with the... You know what? Yeah, let me do that. I'm going to take this boot off the carburetor and I'm going to fasten it, not all the way tight, but to the airbox. And then we'll wiggle that in, spin it in place, and then tighten it down. So let me do that real quick and then we'll pick back up. Alright, so something to note here, guys. I went to put the box to carb boot on, and it was very loose around this, like maybe like a 1/16 of an inch total, like if you were to pull it all the way to one side. So, you know, no fault of CFM or anybody. You know, it's a 33, 34-year-old bike, so you know, this could be a, you know, Quadzilla intake tube. They look very similar. Who knows if somebody swapped it out with that aftermarket box. So what I had done was, I went around it a few times very tightly with electrical tape, and now it is very nice and snug. Yeah, I could have gotten a smaller hose clamp, but that, you know, all that rubber material's got to go somewhere. So if you were to squeeze it with a smaller clamp, it wouldn't fit properly. This isn't going to hurt nothing, and it's also going to hold what I wrapped on there. So let me get this tightened on and then we'll go ahead and continue installing this. Alright, so with the Electron carb on there, the Electron carb from the the front of the body of the carb to the rear, so the intake to the outlet of the carb, it's slightly wider than an OEM. I believe they came with a Mikuni on these. So that kind of forces the boot towards the airbox a little bit. But I got it on there. I went ahead and tightened these bolts. Like I literally had to wrestle with this thing because of, like I just said, how far back the Electron pushes everything. I mean, you can see the spacer, you know, on the Electron there. This boot almost feels like it should go to like here if it was like a stock carb, which the body of these is reminiscent of a, like the, you know, factory Mikuni carb. Same type of like geometry, I guess, but this carb is wider this way from front to back, so that wants to force the boot back naturally, which wants to force the airbags back naturally. But we got it in there. So I have my Uni out. These do not come pre-oiled, so I have to go ahead and spray it down with some oil. And if you know, I know a lot of you guys probably know this, but I gotta say this: you don't oil the inside of the filter, you just oil the outside. That's it. You don't soak it down. Just do it like if you were spray painting, like a light dusting all around it. Twice is what I do. I make sure I get the whole lip around, and when I start, I'll start wherever, like, see the seam in it? I'll start there and work my way around so I know where I started. Because by the time you get around spraying it, going, you might not be able to see where you started, and then you'll put an excess amount in certain areas. It ain't gonna hurt nothing, but, you know, I try to be precise when I can, as much as I can. So let me oil this puppy up. We'll throw it in there, and I don't have my gas tank on, but I went ahead and filled my float bowl up, and we'll see if this puppy wants to fire. Guys, I haven't started this bike in, oh man, I don't know, 2 months maybe. So we'll see if she wants to pop off for us. It was giving me a hard time wanting to start the last time I wanted to ride it, like right after it snowed. You guys seen that short that I posted? So something was up. But I also just noticed that the float bowl on the carb, which is what's good about having a clear float bowl, I could see that the carb was tilted, like it was like listing to the right, which was making the level in the carb, like if this was level and that was the level of the fuel, it was like this in there. So I also noticed I had a little fuel in my intake boot too, so that's probably why this thing was always giving me a hard time to start. If I didn't ride it for a few weeks, what I think was happening was I think some of the fuel was working its way down into the combustion chamber, and it was just like permanently flooded, which I would always attribute that to the bike was just mad at me because I wasn't riding it, you know. Don't get it twisted, guys. These quads here, you know, if you have several of them, they get jealous of each other when they see you riding another one, you know. It's kind of like a girl. So, you know, this one just happens to be born in 91 too, Emily. Anyway, all right, let me get this filter oiled up. We'll put that in, and we'll start this puppy up if she wants to. She's probably a little mad at me. All right, let's see if she wants to fire. Since, like I said, I haven't started in a while. Before we do that, though, I'm not normally putting stickers on stuff type of guy, but, you know, sometimes I like to put make a label and put like when the oil was changed or when the air filter was cleaned and oiled. But this right here is going under the seat, so we'll go ahead and this way we know what filter we have in here. I'll also put the model number of the filter on here, but it's always a good habit to get into, guys. Let's see here. What else can I say to you? These hose clamps that go on the boots, I always like to position the screws where I can get to them easily with a screwdriver the next time, but also where they're hidden. So like on the front, they're underneath all the way at the bottom, so at like 6 o'clock on the boot, and they're easily accessible from the right side more than the left side, so that's where they are. This one doesn't really matter, but I got it on an angle to where if the plastics are on there, I don't have to take them off. I can still get a screwdriver in there. All right, let's, so you guys can see, this is nice and cold. It's not fired, so let's see if she'll fire. I doubt it, but let's see. Yeah, okay. Come on, baby. All right. reliable as a Honda. Alright guys, so there it is, man. CFM airbox on a 3rd gen LT250R. I get smoke coming out of there. I was really not expecting that to start first kick, but you know, maybe because I don't have the gas tank on, it wasn't having a chance to run its way into the down in the crankcase. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. So yeah, when I take the exhaust off and fix where it was touching the cool head, I'll go ahead and take the carb off and, you know, clean that out and whatnot. And that's it. So if you guys are interested in getting a CFM Performance airbox for your Suzuki or any other model, they make airboxes for a lot of different quads. Check them out. You can find them on eBay. I live next to a military base. It sounds like an Apache going by. It's pretty cool sometimes. But anyway, yeah, check them out. You can find them on eBay. Type in whatever the model of your quad is, the year, make, model, and then type in airbox and just scroll, you know. Or you could type and check out their eBay store. You've seen the name on the thumbnail or the picture I showed you before. I'll put it again here on the screen, just like that. Thank you guys for joining me in the garage today, and I'll see yous next time. We got a couple little cool things to do before we get some of this 350X stuff in. Thanks for coming.